Hi, I'm Peter Haddock, and today I've come back to Digbits to see Richard Beard. Richard, you are the sort of technical product engineer for Digbits, and we're surrounded by an unusual red coloured bucket array. Tell me about all of these buckets going to one customer.
Yeah, we've got a customer we've dealt with over the years, Dave Stone. He's just bought himself a new machine, treated himself to the works, got the NOX Tilt-Rotator on there, and we developed with him a few new buckets. We've wanted to do the Scandi buckets for a while now, so to have somebody that's the end user, experienced operator, we thought the time was right to develop with him.
So you're talking, folks, the Scandi buckets in that reference are buckets that are used in the style in Scandinavia for tilt rotators on big excavators and small excavators, aren't they? So he's bought a specific excavator. Tell me what he's bought.
He's bought one of the new Takeuchi TB370s. So great machines Takeuchis are, but yeah, he just bought the full kit. We didn't want to just design a product that we thought looked good. So we researched it every step of the way. We know the Scandinavian ethos with the bucket is to have a bucket that will last the life of the machine and potentially more. So we developed the shape with Dave. We knew the angles we had to do, but we just wanted to make sure everything else about the bucket, strength-wise, shape-wise, everything really suited what he needed.
That angle's slightly different, isn't it, when you're using a tilt rotator to optimise that bucket fill. Tell me a little bit about what that sort of angle is and why that's slightly different to what you'd be a traditional, say, Digbits bucket.
Well, I think it's just a case to give a bit more manoeuvrability with the tilt rotator. So I think they tend to usually sit around sort of 30 degree most of the time. So that's what we sort of went with, but they always have a deeper front scoop.
Right.
So they do tend themselves away for even like cable laying. So some of the buckets we have with the edges for cables, and then others we have sort of teeth, obviously more of the excavations.
Let's talk about the real element in here that people can't see as well, because this is the standard sort of rake bucket that you've got here at Digbits, but the tips here, folks, they're made of Haddocks, aren't they? And tell me a little bit about Haddocks as a product and why you guys are using it in this kind of context.
Well, we've been using it for years. It's a steel that's got some very good properties with it. So it's got a very high wear resilience, but it's very high tensile strength as well. So it's a little bit more of a premium, but when it's the first part of the contact to the ground, it's important to have that extra little bit more wear, where you're going to need it.
Let's move over to talking about the buckets, folks. That's important when it comes to the buckets, because we all know that if you don't have the right wear in the core of the bucket, then actually the whole integrity of the bucket goes in a very, very quick time, particularly in different applications. So this bucket, again, folks, looks like an ordinary bucket, doesn't look like a Digbits bucket because it's been painted in red for the customer. But again, what have we put into this bucket and the design of it and the materials, and where are they?
We started off with the core, so we used quite a thick wall steel for the tube. And I say that as a whole, it's got a whole everything on the hangers of the bucket and the whole structure. The front sides and some of the wear plates of the bucket are Haddocks 450. Just to give that, obviously, the wear resilience and the strength in there too. There's also the Haddocks wear ribs on the back of the bucket we put on there just to further protect the back plate. We do use a bit of core mold steel in there. Obviously, there's some parts that you could add the extra expensive Haddocks, but sometimes it's not quite as required in other areas.
And also, folks, what's interesting here is the word is Digbits. It kind of gives it away, but it's not just buckets, is it? These are teeth as well that you either source or you supply, and make sure that the teeth in the GET as such is right for the application as well here. So you talk about the GET on the bucket here.
Well, we always opt with the Caterpillar type tooth. There's a lot of teeth on the market, but with the Caterpillar ones, it's quite a common in the marketplace. A lot of customers have to source around forever to try and find the right teeth, so we find the Cat ones are probably the easier ones to find. With these, we use a slightly larger one, so we can use like a 25mm thick edge, so we can put quite a nice sized tooth on this bucket.
And that's great, folks, because the GT is really important, as we know, particularly in harder grounds. Even though it's a smaller bucket, this has still got different design features in it and the product of Haddocks, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, one thing we discussed when developing with the customer, he wanted the smaller ones, sometimes for cable, so he didn't want it with the teeth, so you can get a smoother. So we have put a bolt-on reversible blade on these, which made it better. With the larger one, it's quite a large bucket, but with some of the tilt rotators, you can remove the tilt function, so you can take some of the weight out and just use it direct on the hitch.
So come over here, Richard, with it. Why these products are basically so good, because what we're talking about here is we're talking about products that outlast the excavator, really, aren't we?
Oh, that's it. Like I say, the tilt rotator could also move with the new machine. So, you know, if the buckets can go with that too, it's a bonus.
Yeah, it is. It certainly is. And what we're talking about here is this array. We always see the tilt rotator as the new utility option for anybody in an excavator, particularly an owner-operator. And of course, you've got some of your standard products here as well. Explain to me which one this one is.
This is our grading beam. A lot of people use these for sort of sport arenas or just general sort of leveling, but we found it's a product we introduced a number of years ago now. A lot of people use a grading bucket for this sort of work, but this is a much easier attachment to use. You can make a neater job, a faster job, and it just seems to be one of the faster mover attachments now we use.
So really this is all about functionality and speed. We all know that basically an owner-operator has a really great opportunity to do projects by a price basis rather than an hour basis. So if the owner-operator can use all of these buckets to be faster and actually to create a quality job at the same time with the speed of the tilt rotator, it all makes a big financial difference, doesn't it? And this is a substantial investment, but it's going to pay off, isn't it?
Oh, most definitely, yeah. Like I say, the Scandinavian type hitches, it does give them avenue to get further work in different lines.
Yeah, so it's red time here at Digbits. We normally see the black and the green. They have put a bit of green on the side there with the Digbits logo. We're going to go and see this and all the products working on site and earning their keep. Richard, thanks very much for talking to me today.
Thanks, Peter. Cheers.